The Streak Texas is TxDOT's campaign to end fatalities on Texas roads. November 7th marked 23 years of daily deaths being reported on Texas roadways. As of today, our state has had more than 3,500 fatalities just this year. The state averages 12 traffic deaths a day.
I see people on their phones all the time, or they're looking at, even though they're stopped, they're looking at it. I think distracted driving is one of the biggest problems we're having now, and that's why we're having these crashes. Also, being impaired, whether it be a prescription medicine or drug or alcohol.
And these In the Streak markers were placed around the square in downtown Tyler today, marking 187 traffic fatalities in TxDOT's Tyler district just last year.